is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, we have the Mid-Dale Coaches Show for you right now here on the Oklahoma Sports Network, and we are so happy to be joining you from the Bricktown Brewery in Midwest City. So if you don't have any dining plans tomorrow's a great time to come to Bricktown Brewery, and that is Wednesdays are half price for their pizza selection, and they got a great selection of pizzas. And then, of course, any day is a great day to come because they got on whatever sporting events that you would look forward to watching. Plus, they have an app you should download, the Bricktown Brewery app. You can accumulate points, and in so doing, you'll get discounts here. So we really love the Bricktown Brewery, and we thank them for hosting this show this football season, this fall season. And, of course, we want to thank Toonie Bice Houses, led by Channing Chamberlain, for being another sponsor of the show. Toonie Bice Houses. We buy and renovate homes. We also lease, own, or finance homes throughout the state of Oklahoma. Phone number to call is 405-931-3046. And we're going to get started here, of course, with Midwest City football. The Bombers were victorious this past Thursday when they beat Putnam City West by a score of 40-6. Joining me is their special teams coach. He also coached the defensive backs. That is Dominique Barnes-Karn. All right, Coach. When did you first find out that this game was even going to be scheduled? Did you find out, was it Saturday afternoon, the previous Saturday?
I want to say I found out probably more that Saturday, yeah. I'll say the Saturday I found out.
So I assume you didn't have any – well, first, it was supposed to be on a Friday, so I don't know if you had any plans that you had to cancel, but I'm sure you were glad like Coach Hall was glad to get another game in, and I assume you felt the same way?
Well, originally that we had a bye week on the schedule at first, so of course, like anybody else during a bye week, you want to take that time off to decompress, spend some time with some family. But when we found out that we had a game, it was just had to flip that switch and just get back in the game mode and start to prep.
And what were practices like? Because again, you expect to have a bye week, and now you go from that to a short week. So you got to get some things taken care of pretty quickly, I would assume.
I would say we stayed the course. Like any other game, if we have a game on Thursday, then we just move everything up a day. Mm-hmm. So it really didn't change anything for us because we found out at a good time. So as far as for the kids and us, it was a small adjustment, and it was just all good.
Now, obviously, the Carl Albert game didn't go great for the team, but for what you coached, I thought it was fine. There wasn't any real glaring, other than the one muff punt, special teams mistakes. That obviously was a big deal. But then there was also in the secondary, maybe one busted coverage. Otherwise, you guys were competing with their big receivers. So, what was your message to the units you coach, both special teams and in the secondary?
Well, for special teams, the year before we were so lethargic during punt team, so I wanted to make sure that this year we were ready in all phases, and it showed out there on the film. As far as the guys in the back end, those guys have SEC offers, so for us, I wanted us to compete hard, play fast, and just have fun. Have fun at the end of the day because, why would you not want to go against some of the best guys in the state, So it's time to get our name out there, so.
Absolutely.
Kind of our mindset towards it.
Now, according to the roster, you more specifically coach cornerbacks. Is that right?
Yes, but I'll still have a hand in the whole back end. Me and Coach Marlon Mack, which is his first year with us.
Okay. And both your starting cornerbacks, I believe, had a pick.
Yes, I did.
Let's start with Brandon Dixon. He's pretty new to playing a lot, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I don't know how much he played last year. Yeah.
second year ever that I would say. And well, what I'll say about Brandon, he's very coachable. Very coachable. He enjoys the game. He brings the energy every day. And, you know, the thing with him being new to it, he doesn't act like he knows everything, so he's always willing to learn. And I think that's really big for him. And I think if he just keeps on hitting on his course, he'll be getting some calls at the end of the year. That's
great to hear. And I know he's fast from watching him in baseball, and he played basketball as well, so gotta love he's playing all those sports.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought he had a really good play against Carl Albert, and you could see he has some confidence to him. And then against PC West, I mean, he had the interception that led to an easy touchdown for you guys in the third quarter. And what goes right on a play like that, especially for Brandon?
Having your eyes right, staying in phase, and finishing.
Okay.
So I'll say it'll be those things there.
And then Dustin Anderson, towards the end of the game, he kept the PC West team out of the end zone as far as offense goes. The defense didn't give up a touchdown. It was the offense that gave up a touchdown. So and he made a spectacular interception in the end zone. What can we say about that interception in Dustin in particular?
It was a great play for him because the play before he had got beat on the fade ball. So, of course, I wasn't too happy about that. But just like I try to just tell all the guys, just keep playing in the next play. And I think for a kid like him, he's putting all the work in the offseason. So every rep that he's getting that he has earned. And I'm just so proud of the work that he's put in. And I just want to make sure with him that he doesn't get complacent, you know, because some young players, if they get everything at an early age, then they can kind of get complacent and kind of feel themselves. But for him, he stayed humble, and you know, he just taking it just one day at a time, and that's just a great thing about it. And he loves the game.
Yeah,
that's a really big thing about him, that he loves the game.
And then another new player you guys have is Chance Bubba Davis. And anytime I hear the name Bubba, I think he must be a bigger guy. He's not that big, but he can run, obviously.
He can.
And he's starting the new number 5 basically as a safety, and he plays some wide receiver. I've liked watching him play wide out. I think he's going to get better and better there. But what can you say about him as a safety?
He's more athletic than what I thought. He knows the game more than what I thought, because with him it's just more just basketball. It's kind of just what I was privy to at first. But now that I see him more on a day-to-day basis, and I have him in class as well, so he's just an amazing athlete. He understands the game, and he wants it. He really does want it.
And is he a junior?
He's a senior.
Senior, okay.
He's a senior, yeah.
Well, it's too bad we get it for 1 year, but I'm still glad to have him on. And then your other safeties include Felix, and then I'm running blank on the other one.
Devin Walker,
okay.
Yeah.
And
Josiah had 2 plays as well.
I forgot JoJo. Yeah, he starts a lot. And so we mentioned some names of players who also will play on offense. How you guys distribute that, especially when it comes from playing in the secondary to maybe playing wide receiver? It seems like it's kind of the flip from what you might see from O-line and D-linemen. Like O-linemen will stay on and they'll rotate some on the D-line.
Right.
But on offense, for the speedsters, wide receivers will rotate more, and you want to keep your starters in the secondary. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say just how the game flows.
Yeah.
But that would be a fair one, though. You know, I just watch how the game flows and see who's a little winded and see who's not. But I tell all the guys to be ready, be in shape, you know, because you never know. So they're always ready, and they want to play. You know, I don't think we want kids that don't want to be on the field. You know, I think we all want those kids that want to play and want to stay in the game. But it's also a good thing to have when you can bring in some other guys to get a rest here or two.
Yeah. And then I was surprised when I saw, because he wasn't playing in the first game, Lincoln King as your punter. And I thought he got better against Carl Albert. And the snaps and the execution of the punts were pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel like he's progressing as a punter?
He's getting better. He just has to believe in himself more, trust it, and just get the reps. Just get the reps. Not too many reps, because if we're punting a lot, then that's not good. You know, so.
Right.
But outside of that, yeah, he's coming along well, and he works every day. He brings it every day, and that kid, I can't wait till we really get going to really see how he goes.
I'm hoping to see a fake at some point with him because there are not too many punters that can run like he
Right.
can.
You're right. I think the last guy that we had that can run like that. Well, outside of last year, just having David, maybe Artez Young.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
A few years back, yeah.
That touchdown he had against Carl Albert 3
Yeah.
years ago, I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but DJ could run, but he didn't want to use him.
Yeah.
At that when he was punting. Of
Yeah.
course.
Didn't want to use him much there.
Yeah. And then finally, let's bring in the player here we got with us, our new kicker, Ruben Trejo. So go ahead and talk a bit about Ruben and how he's come on this year as your new kicker.
I'll say with Ruben, he's always been around. He's always worked on his craft, and he stayed ready. He's always had the JV games to get his game reps in, and him just having this first year for those varsity reps, and I feel like he's just getting better every day. I think the more games that he's in, he's understanding it more, and his awareness is going to keep on growing. But as long as he just stays true to his routine and what he does, he'll keep on getting better.
All right. Well, Ruben, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Glad we can have you on. How long have you been playing football?
Since we were 6th grade.
6th grade. And have you been mostly a kicker?
No, I started kicking in freshman year,
Okay.
and then before I was on the lineman.
You're a lineman?
Yep.
Okay, maybe we'll see that someday. No, probably not. And you say you've been kicking since you were a freshman. What's that like as far as preparation goes? I mean, do you practice on your own usually, or how does that normally work?
In the off season, I would practice a lot on my own. My dad would take me to the field on base, and I would just go kick over there. But now I just mainly in practice. That's when I practice, and I go over a recovery, like at the gym or something like that. Let's do a recovery.
Okay. All right. And then against Putnam City West, the team finally started scoring touchdowns. And for extra points, I believe you were 4 out of 6? Okay. So how do you feel like about both the extra points you made, maybe the ones that you didn't? How do you feel about how you kicked?
For the first time, I feel like I did pretty good. You know, it'd be nice if I could make all of them. So that's what I'm leaning towards for the next week.
Right.
But it's mainly that first kick. I just want to get it out of the way. I got it, went through. So I was pretty happy about that. It can only get better from here. So.
And then one of the ones you did not make, I think there was an illegal substitution that pushed you back. Did that kind of mess with your head a little bit, or?
Not really, because I practiced that with that, but it was just a little error
Right.
on the execution, but that's okay. You know, it happens. But.
Well, Coach, that had to be a frustrating penalty. At least you had it in a game where you were winning comfortably, because you had set up correctly like 3 or 4 times before that.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I mean, things happen though.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, and you got to learn to deal with adversity, and you also have to run those types of situations in practice. And I think we do a great job of that. Just always staying ready, always staying prepped for anything. So.
All right, and Ruben, let's see. I had a question for you. I forgot what it was momentarily. Okay, what do you feel like your range is? You personally, how far back do you feel like you'd be comfortable kicking a field goal?
Probably about from the 25-yard line, maybe.
25-yard line.
For a live in game, but further, I can kick further, but for live in game, that's about accurate.
Okay, it's 42 yards, I think. So
yeah.
That's quite the leg. And Coach, where do you see him? I mean, would you be comfortable kicking, in any goal-to-go situation, or it all depends on the wind, or what are some other factors there?
Wind is always a factor. Seeing it in practice first is always a big thing. Us being on the same page, but if he's confident, I'm confident in him.
Yeah.
So I'll say that's a big thing there.
And I assume, Ruben, you don't just work on place kicking, you work on kickoffs as well, of course, because that's another one of your duties. And it seems like you always want to kick it towards the sideline. Your sideline, is that the normal plan?
Yes. Always kick it to the sideline. That's what we practice in practice. So that's what we try to do.
And, Coach, how do you feel about how that went? At first, PC West fair caught them, which I think you guys probably wanted. Mm-hmm. And then they started to return them.
Yeah.
So was that something you might normally adjust to if it's a closer game, or what's kind of the mindset there for kickoffs?
For our kickoffs, I would say that we never will anticipate a fair catch. We always think that they're going to fit it. So we always have to run and give great effort. We got to outrun the blocks. We got to stay in our lanes. So I always tell the guys, regardless of how the kick is, the coverage team, we need to run down, because just like what had happened in the game, we had the first few that were fair caught, and then we probably got a little lax on the run down, and then all of a sudden they're able to reverse field. But I think for us, we need to understand how teams are trying to return the ball on us, and that's my job as well, just to keep letting them know, like, hey, these are the gaps here, these are the things that we got to be mindful of, and things like that. But the kids do a great job of putting in the work, giving me their input on things, and we just try to get better every week, and keep it going.
And Ruben, do you have like a particular spot you want to land those kicks in? You want it to be inside the 20? Obviously, I think you'd have to sacrifice maybe a little bit of distance if you're trying to angle it. Correct. So what is your mindset?
Between the sideline and the numbers, between there that's good. I'll try to get it.
Okay, and if you kick it out of bounds, obviously that's not your goal, but is that something that you can live with, or because you do? Because if you kick it down the sideline, you do run that risk sometimes that it might go out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously we want to try to get it, in the spot. Mm-hmm. But it happens sometimes. As long as I'm able to adjust from it, then we can just forget about it, and then it'll be all good. But as long as it's not in the middle where I kick it.
Okay, and let's talk Del City. So the big rivalry coming up, and it's hard to believe it's your guys' fourth game, but you get that because you don't have a bye week until week 9, so it's an unusual schedule here.
Oh yeah.
And of course, you played a game last week where there were probably some Del City coaches and players watching you guys, but you're plenty of chances to watch their games against Eden Memorial and Booker T. And we'll start. Just general thoughts there about this year's version of the Eagles.
Well, I think they still got the athletes. They're still well coached. They're still big. They're still strong, and they're still fast. And we still have to come ready to play. I mean, this is a team that we haven't beaten in the past few years, so we just have to come ready to play. And I don't really think we can look into the guys that they lost. I just think they're just well coached, so they just reload. So we just got to come ready and just play Bomber football.
All right, Ruben, what do you think about the Eagles?
They're a good team. So I had to watch some film over them, but I feel like we're ready. I feel like we're going to do good. They are a pretty good team, but I feel like we're going to do good. And
it does look like, and I've watched them play, that they're new quarterback, moving from Tuttle, and they got some old wide receivers, but some new ones like Katie Palmer and stuff. I mean, this looks like it may not be quite as fine-tuned as what it was maybe last year with River Warren and LaDainian Fields, but they still can move the ball down the field. They still can throw the ball downfield. How do you feel about their passing game?
I feel like we got to come ready to play. We can't take a play off. They do a very good job making the contested catch. That's one thing that I've seen on film. They do a great job of blocking too as well. So we got to get off blocks and we got to cover. We just got to do our job, and as long as we give great effort, everything else will take care of itself, and we'll put ourselves in a place to win the game.
All right, and Ruben, do you play another sport?
Not for the school, no, but for tennis I just play for fun. But
Okay, tennis
Yeah.
is a hobby.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good for your footwork. So,
Yeah.
all right, well, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Ruben, I hope to see you get better and better. By the way, what year are you?
Senior.
Senior. Okay. So, hey, I'm sure you'll get some chance to kick some big field goals not too far ahead from now. So, best of luck to you there, and Coach. Always good to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. Well, maybe at some point we can have you on again a little bit later in the season here.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay, so Midwest City will be taking on Del City, and just like when we play Carl Albert, I say we, Midwest City, there are 2 broadcasts. So for the Midwest City broadcast, be sure to join Tom Carpenter and myself. And then, of course, there's a Del City broadcast. One of us will probably get the lovely sideline reporter, Tessa Durrell. So we'll just see how that plays out. But it's a big game. We're looking forward to it. And, again, it'll start 6:30 p.m. will be the pregame. 7 o'clock was when the kickoff will start. A little bit after that. The Eagles and Bombers playing yet another rendition of their long rivalry. Okay, speaking of the Eagles, when we come back from a break, we'll be talking Del City football. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Mid-Del Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back.
Chicken strips. Chicken strips. Chicken strips.
Ranch. Ranch. Buffalo Ranch. Monterey Jack cheese.
The Whataburger Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich. A beautiful masterpiece.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
Have you ever seen an insurance commercial and ask yourself, are they really telling me the truth? Well, guess what? They're not.
Somebody runs a red light and you think all of a sudden their insurance company's going to be all neighborly about it? Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money. They're in the business of keeping your money.
So remember, save our number in your phone so when tragedy strikes.
Call Rob and Will.
If you've lived in Oklahoma long enough, you'll know that we get extreme weather. With that extreme weather comes hail damage to your roof and an insurance claim. When that happens, there's not a better company to deal with on your insurance claim than Cantrell Roofing and Construction. Since 1987, Cantrell Roofing and Construction has proven to be the best in the business, and always remember, got hail? Call Cantrell. Call them at 405-642-8558.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.
State Representative Max Wolfley.
As a longtime Mid-Del teacher, coach, and parent, I first ran for the legislature to ensure taxpayer dollars appropriated for education actually made it all the way to the classroom. That concern hasn't changed and seems even more important today. Thank you for giving me the privilege of serving the people of our district.
Max Wolfley, looking out for educators, seniors, veterans, and all of us. Recorded in our kitchen after midnight. Can you tell?
Whataburger now has new premium coffee. That means a brand new taste with new flavors. And it's coming in hot and iced cold. New hot and iced coffee from Whataburger, just like you like it. For the first time ever, Whataburger has iced coffee. So hey, get vanilla iced coffee with breakfast, caramel iced coffee with a snack, and for dinner, how about mocha iced coffee? Or just get plain. Nothing wrong with a classic. New iced coffee from Whataburger, just like you like it.
All right, welcome back to the Middale Coach Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Once again, we're at the Bricktown Brewery Midwest City, where, of course, you can come every Wednesday, and pizza will be half price off, or half price. And then, of course, throughout the week, they'll have other specials going on, and they'll have great stuff going on the TVs, all kinds of different sporting events. So we want to thank Bricktown Brewery for hosting the Middale Coach Show this year. And again, Toonie Buys Houses is our other sponsor for the Coach Show. We buy and renovate homes. We also lease and owner finance homes throughout the state of Oklahoma. The phone number to call is 405-931-3046. Again, the number is 405-931-3046. Okay, Del City football, well, they had a rare bye week for week 2, but they got a game coming up this week, so we're going to look forward to once again talking with their head coach, Coach Robert Jones.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach, so week 2 it's an unusual week to have a bye week. I know, I guess the last couple of years you had a bye week in week 3, but how do you take advantage of the off time?
Well, it's kind of just like last year. I mean, what's really, if you really think about it, what's the difference in a week?
Yeah.
When we have a bye week, we treat it like a game week. We're highly competitive. We have a lot of good athletes. We have a lot of good guys that are competing for positions just because we're in the early part of the season. So it's been highly competitive. And we have a standard at Del City that bye week, or if we have a big game or we have a game that we're suspected to win, we're going to practice the same. It doesn't change from week to week, bye week. If we have a big game, every week we practice the same. We do the same routine in the weight room. Our whole program is built off structure and discipline. So we really don't have different weeks. Every week's the same for us. And our kids are doing a good job really learning the offensive scheme. You know, this is probably, I'm going in a month of being the offensive coordinator, so we're really starting to get our schemes down. We're really starting to look like we're meshing together, and we're taking advantage of all the athletes that we have. And defensively, we're continuing the tradition of flying to the ball, being physical, and taking care of business once we get to the ball. So I'm excited to see us go out this week and see what we can do together after a week off and really compete in that practice and see if we can go out there as a brotherhood and really take care of business.
So did you practice on Friday?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, my mindset was everybody else is playing the game, so
right.
We're going to treat Friday like it was a game. So we do a process at practice, what we call play the game. So we did every special teams. We did every situational thing that you could do offensively and defensively, third and long, first down plays, second and short. We really had our kids in the atmosphere like it was a game, and we got out there. We probably had a 2.5 type hour practice. So our kids are going to be conditioned, and they're going to be ready for Friday.
So it's a good thing you didn't have a power outage like Carl Albert did.
Sure, it's still, the sun is still enough light
right.
You could practice.
That's true. Yes, sir.
So,
and you've told me before, I think, that this year you feel like you can go one starter. You don't have to have two-way starters. I mean, not that you wouldn't with someone like Rickland Holmes, for example. So does that mean you can practice ones-on-ones?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go ones against ones. We go good against good. Actually, Rickland isn't starting both ways. He's going to rotate at running back with these two.
Right.
Jeremiah Miles will be starting at running back. He's a senior. He's earned it. He's not starting on defense, so he could be a little bit fresher at times. So, but then you got Rickland Holmes and Caleb Black with two tremendous athletes coming in and kind of spilling for Jeremiah when needed. And Jeremiah's a backup on defense, so you never know what can happen. But, no, this is the first time since I've been at Del City that we've been able to go about 8 players that can go play one way, but they still will rotate as a rotational player as a backup. So we got a couple guys that are going both ways, a couple guys in the interior, but as far as skill guys, receivers, and running backs, we really don't have one person that goes one way. So conditioning-wise and being able to get to the sideline and make adjustments have been huge for us this year. So we're starting to see that from a scheme standpoint. I'm excited to see where we're at as Coach Kelly and the defense. This is going to be his full second year being the coordinator, so you're starting to see growths in areas that I'm really excited about. And then myself as an offensive coordinator, with this being my first full month, I'm just excited from the creativity that I can use as I was a defensive coordinator, learning how to stop different offenses for 9 years. I'm able to put that in the offensive frame and really utilize it.
Okay, so let's look back a bit at the Booker T game. You guys win 33-0. And so you mentioned how you're, OC and stuff. I thought Cash looked really good.
Yeah.
Because and what I'm impressed with is I've seen multiple plays of his where he's been under pressure and he's made the right throw and he's completed it. And then other times where he's thrown the ball, over the middle or to the sidelines, but he's throwing it downfield and with accuracy. How would you rate his performance?
Well, I'm his coach, so I'm really hard on him.
Sure.
So the pressure he feels at practice, I promise you, it's a lot more intense than it's going to be at the game. So he's used to that intensity as far as me coaching him hard every play, on his tail when he doesn't do things right. So when he gets in the game, it's probably fun for him because at practice it ain't very fun because I coach pretty hard. So as far as that being his second game, I feel like it was a great performance. He was under duress and he made a couple of throws that I was even surprised because I'm just learning the kid. This is my second game with him. He made a couple of throws that were outstanding, and then he made a run on 4th down, I believe, versus Booker T. Close to the goal line that really gave us another opportunity to punch that in on that first drive, especially with the insecurity of us getting in the red zone 4 times versus Edmond Memorial not scoring. So that emotion and that feeling is there. So for him to be able to create something and get a first down, that kind of shows his mobility. And then he has an arm strength to fit it in tight pockets. And I think as we progress forward, the more he gets comfortable with our receivers and our running back in the pass game, I think everybody's going to see that in a couple of years he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's only a sophomore, so like you said, a couple of years. I mean, that's got to be nice to have that, and just hope he stays healthy. And then on defense, obviously, as a defensive coach in the past, you had to love that you guys pitched a shutout.
I still coach the DB, so I ain't far from it.
Yeah, but the guy that stood out, and Coach Kelly gave me his last name. I'm saying it right, but number 25, Christian Akadiri.
Oh yeah, Christian Akadiri. Honestly, I feel like I feel guilty because he should have played a lot last year. Mm-hmm. He was a cornerback for me in safety. He probably should have played a lot last year. He's just one of those kids in the program that got overlooked. I think if he plays last year, even in the state championship game, we may be looking at a different outcome as far as how we play defensively. He's just a great player. He's a great kid. He's about 195 pounds. He's a track kid. He runs the hurdles, so he's very athletic. He's just fearless. And now you put that athleticism that he has playing at defensive back, and you put him at linebacker, it really makes it pretty tough on offensive linemen and receivers that are trying to get off him being in that curl to flat area. So he's a tremendous athlete. I think as we progress through the season, he's going to continue to show what kind of athlete he is too, because this is only his second game playing. So I think this week people are going to really see a side of him that they haven't been able to see in the first 2 games.
That's amazing. I didn't know he was a defensive back last year.
He played cornerback.
Cornerback, and now, you have a linebacker, it looks like.
Yeah, he plays linebacker.
And that first hit, where he had a clean shot to the quarterback, I didn't think, he must play defensive back when he made that hit.
Our defensive backs are, for the most part, are pretty physical, because we practice pretty intense. We practice field goal. We go full pads. I'm an old school style coach where if you're going to go full goal in the games, I think you need to practice like that, and that's how we've been practicing. So that was normal to him. Now we do stay off the quarterback, the varsity quarterback. Sometimes we get after the scout team quarterback, but he's just used to that. Yeah, that's football. He's going to get hit in the game. So he's used to that intensity with me coaching him in tackle drills and tackle circuit, and also with Coach Kelly. So it was really the norm for him. But I was excited to see him get out there and make that play.
And then that game was the first time, and I've watched a lot of football, not as much as you, but first time I've ever seen a safety on a kickoff.
Yeah, that was my first too. Well, actually, I don't know if they have like something going on at Booker T with some kind of mindset. That's 2 years in a row that we had Pooch kicked it or on the punt that we got the year before we got the ball on the 2-yard line, and it was a close game. And it was able to get the year before, Kanaju got one. They got us on 2-yard line, and it gave us that momentum that we needed. So it's something going on special teams. I like to call it the Bill Snyder effect at K-State. When you make special teams a big deal, we call it Code White. When you make it a big deal and you coach it hard with the same intensity that you do on offense and defense, because sometimes coaches tend to, put that to the side a little bit per se. So we've really been making that a big emphasis. And I think as we progress in the year, people are going to see that is one of the weapons that we're going to have as well with the athleticism and speed that we have.
And even though, you probably want to recover that fumble in the end zone for a touchdown, getting a safety is actually pretty good, too, because you get the ball back.
You get 7
9 out of
that,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, who we got with us here?
We got Jeremiah Miles, running back. He's been patient. He's a senior running back. He's our starting running back. We got a lot of big names. We had a lot of big names at running back. Rodney Fields, Brady Adama, Rickland Holmes. And he was a guy that came in last year multiple times and had over 100 yards with the time he was getting in the latter part of the second half. And he patiently waiting his time. With Shaden Green moving away and transferring, he was going to be in competition with him. So I think it worked out to where we got the player that we wanted. So I'm excited for him. He's running like he needs to. He's also a track athlete to where he finished 5th in the long jump in 5A. I think he's going to be a long jump champion next year, honestly, and I say that humbly. But he's just that type of athlete. He's a real strong kid, got a strong squad, explosive, so we're excited for him. He also has played some linebacker for us. Then we got Caleb Blackwolf moving over from El Reno. Talked about him a lot in previous shows. He was a full-time starter at El Reno as a freshman. He's a guy that came in right away, and we saw his work ethic. We saw what kind of player he was. He's our starting free safety. He's also going to play running back, and he can play receiver when needed. And he's also a key piece in the return game on special teams, and he also plays on the kickoff as well. So these two great guys, they're growing every day, not only as football players but as people, and I'm excited to see them flourish this year.
All right, Jeremiah, you definitely also caught my attention when I went back to watch your game against Booker T. And I'm like, okay, this is a guy that can not only give Rickland a spell, but maybe, take over. And that's kind of what's happening a bit. But I'm sure there will be plenty of handoffs left for Rickland, too. But how do you feel about how your game went against Booker T? Oops.
Is it on?
Yeah,
okay.
You're good.
I feel great about it. Finally getting to get in and not even in the second half, but in the first half and getting in and actually – seeing how the offense and defense works out, being at practice, really setting that practice to the game, and seeing how it affects. You know what I'm saying? So me being in practice and everything, it's not as different because we practice so hard, and I feel like it's just natural when I get in the game.
Did you feel pretty fresh during that game? Since you got two other running backs that are getting the handoffs too. Did you feel good about your conditioning as the game wore on?
Definitely. We practiced hard. Our summer practice real hard, and since all three of us were subbing out and everything, I felt fresh.
Very good. All right, and Caleb, I remember you from last year. So when you guys came to Midwest City with El Reno, and I know that I already forgot the name of the starting running back, but he had 500 yards the week before against Noble. Was it Malachi?
Yes, sir.
Malachi Nelson?
And Nichols.
Nichols, okay. But then you were getting handoffs. Were you wearing what number were you wearing?
Number 1.
Number 1, okay, yes. And you were getting some handoffs as well. And man, that was a big part of you guys going to Midwest City and winning that game. What's different though about Del City? Not that one here, not that you need to criticize El Reno anyway, but what's it like now at Del City?
Really the work ethic. Our coach stays on us, make sure our grades are up there, and then that's really it for me.
And did you guys, obviously you were moving. What made you want to come to Del City?
Me and my parents thought it was a great opportunity for me to get seen more.
All right. And then, Coach, again, when you have three obviously great options here, how do you go about deciding who's in? Do you just ride the hot hand for a bit, or what goes into your substitution pattern?
Well, the first thing, we try to rotate every series if we can, but obviously I'm going to use common sense. If the team goes on a long drive and Rickland and Caleb have to play a lot of defense, I feel like Miles is more than capable to handle the load. So it's kind of one of those things that you just kind of go with the flow of that, see how the offense and defensive game are going, and see how much you need to put that pressure on Caleb and Rickland from a physical standpoint. And you also have certain plays that they all do well, and you just call those plays and you make sure they're in there and you utilize them that way. But I feel like they're all capable of being a starting running back. So anytime you got three, I think with the physicality that comes with playing running back, especially with the way we practice, it's good to spread out that physical standpoint and keeping them fresh throughout the years, because we all know when that weather gets cold and team guys are kind of wore down from the length of the season, they're not going to want to tackle 3 good backs. And the thing I like about them, they're all unique in their own way. Rickland's that get downhill power back. Caleb's that get downhill elusiveness, can do a little bit of both. And Miles is, he's just a scat back. You can't really see him until he's up on you, and he's strong enough to run through you, and he's quick enough and loose enough to make you miss. So they all bring their own unique style. I love the way that they're selfless. You never see them upset who's getting the praise, who's getting the handoffs, oh, I should be in here this time, or you never see them kind of have that confrontation that you can kind of see when you have 3-star running backs. So I think it's going to really pay off for them. And, we want to do some great things. We want to have them all get over 1,000 yards. So we still got a lot of time in the season. We have 8 games left, so that's plenty of time to take care of business and do what we need to do.
That'd be quite a feat.
Yes, sir.
Jeremiah, what's your mindset when you get the ball? Are you looking for contact? Are you looking for daylight? Or what do you think? What are you thinking?
Depending on the play call and the distance, the down and distance is really important. I know every play could be a touchdown, but I need to help the team. So if I need to get that first down, I'm going to just get that first down.
Yes, sir.
So when you run to the edge, now we're talking maybe defensive backs. Do you try to run through them then, as opposed to maybe if you run up the middle?
Yeah, definitely. Linebackers and defensive backs, I would just have to see.
He means 3rd and 1, he's going to run through them.
Right.
Basically.
1st and 10, he's going to try to score. You know what I'm saying?
All right. And then, Caleb, what about you? When you get the ball, what's going through your mind?
The same thing, really. And really, that's really it.
Yeah, hold on. You're going to relax. Talk about your style. If it's 3rd and 1, are you going to run through somebody? 1st and 10, you're going to be a little bit more elusive. And in the screen game, you'll be a little bit more elusive.
Yeah. So when it's like 3rd and 1, I'm trying to run through somebody. I'm not I'm looking for just to get the first down, really.
Yes,
but if it's like 1st and 1, I'm just going to see what I can get, really.
There you go.
All right, and you guys are both linebackers on defense?
Yes.
You got a gun there?
He's
okay.
a safety.
No, sir. I'm
Safety. Okay.
Yeah.
Caleb, let's talk about playing safety then. And what's your mentality there? I know you're playing along with McAllister, right, as the other safety.
Yes, sir.
Have you gotten any big licks so far, or any highlights on that end?
Not yet, but it's going to come to me, though.
Yeah.
We're going to trust our defensive calls, and it's going to come to me.
Yeah, they haven't gone at you yet, I guess.
You got some in practice, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Jeremiah, what about you? You play some linebacker, right?
Yeah, playing Sam behind Christian Akaderi. Haven't even got a chance to get in yet. He's been doing so good.
Yeah, he's not going to come off too often in the way he plays. And then, does Christian play any on offense?
Yeah, he'll play some tight end from time to time,
Okay.
but they all play a big role in special teams too. So
yeah,
and you never know how football is with the physicality. You never know when you're a play away from playing. So even though Miles hadn't played, he's a backup. You never know. Christian may be cramping. Something may happen.
Yeah.
His helmet may come off, so you might have to come in a crucial play. So he's prepared and ready. He's athletic. He's physical. So I think he'll be able to take care of business if he has to get out there at linebacker.
Okay, Christian, do you play another sport?
Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah, sorry. I don't know why I said Christian. I think of number 25. And,
Gotcha.
and he'd already mentioned you run track? Is
Yes.
that right? Okay.
Yeah, track, long jump, and this year I want to do the 4x1, the 4x2, maybe some 400, see how it goes. We have a lot of different athletes at our school, but definitely for sure long jump. I want to go first place, first, second, third, anything.
Yeah.
I like it. Caleb's a good track athlete as well.
Caleb, what do you do in track?
100, 200, 4x1, and 4x2.
I like it.
Okay, you got a lot going on there. Do you guys play any winter sports?
I guess
I mean,
powerlifting.
Powerlifting.
There you go.
He's a basketball player.
They're going to play basketball?
He's rated
Yes,
number
sir.
2 athlete, basketball player in his
Oh,
class.
that's right. I heard that. Okay, I'll be watching for some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, Midwest City. So I think some of your coaches and players were at that game Thursday that just got added to the schedule a few days earlier, so gave you something to do, something to scout. And obviously they were going to play better against PC West as they ran into a buzzsaw that is Carl Albert the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have a sophomore quarterback, and they got one running back they like to give the ball to a lot.
He's a good player.
Number 34, Jaheim Mahmoud.
Yeah.
So what are some points of emphasis against the Bombers?
Well, starting offensively, man, they're big up front. Midwest City's always big up front. I think they always do a great job with the offensive line. It's a team that you definitely have to respect. And they got a great running back. They want to give him the ball, and they do a good job with their run schemes, and their offensive linemen get on the second level well. So if you don't come to play, they can't have some success. He's a bigger back. You know, he's in the form of Ollie Gordon with the height and size, and he does have some looseness. I rarely see people tackle him one-on-one. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. And we understand the physicality they're bringing up front, and we understand the athleticism he brings as a running back. And the sophomore quarterback, you know, he throws a great ball. You know, he throws a great deep ball. He gets it out of his hands. We all know the talent that Midwest City has, so they have guys on the outside that are more incapable of making big plays. So we're really respecting them offensively. We understand what they bring to the table. I think it's a great test for us going into district, especially with the next week playing against Collinfield. So this is a great test for us. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I love rival games because it brings the best out of coaches and players. It gets to let you see where you are, win or lose. So it's a great opportunity for us. And defensively, you know, Coach K does a great job. He runs some four-man front. He runs some three-man fronts. He does a great job bringing pressure. Their cornerbacks are very aggressive. They like to get up there and play press. So this is a great opportunity for our outside guys to really show that they're going to mature and try to take the mode of Kenigel Thomas and LaDainian Fields. So it's a great opportunity for us, and we're excited for it. We've been working hard for 2 weeks. Thank God we had that open week so we can get a little bit rested mentally, but physically we were able to turn it up a notch to really add another week to our depth as far as our schemes and things like that. So Midwest City brings a lot to the table. It's a rival game. It's another opportunity for us to get out there and play together as a brotherhood and see where we're at as we move into district, because the ultimate goal is being a district champion.
Interesting. That was almost a district game. And then,
that's crazy how that works, right?
Court ruling in April messed that up. But at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are back in the football district together.
I wouldn't either.
Jeremiah, so the Bombers, what are your thoughts?
Growing up with them, this is my senior year. This is their senior year. I'm ready to bang it out and see who's the better person. And I really feel like this game is going to glue our team together and see where we're at also.
All right. And then, Caleb, I mean, how did you feel about – I mean, obviously they played Midwest City last year at Del City, but you played on this field last year, and it was a big win for El Reno when you were playing for them. And how did you feel about your performance? Was that like was that a breakout performance for you, or was it more of what you normally did that year?
Normally what I did that year.
Okay. And but you've also gone against them. What do you think about the Bombers this year?
I'm just going to have really have a respect for them. I'm just ready to play this game, see what our team's really made of.
Well, you've had 2 weeks. You have a week off, so I know you guys are probably a little antsy to get back out there.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, then that game will take place, and then you'll begin playing your new football district, District 4, after that. So I don't know if you've been looking at any of those teams. I've probably asked you about that a little bit, but.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to look ahead. I mean, any person that said they don't, they're not being honest. So we're not looking ahead to the point where we're focusing on them and game planning on them. But obviously, Collinville is a great team. You know, they won a state championship. Their last team in 5A that has won a state championship besides Carl Albert. They've won one in, I think, 2021 or 20. So they're a great team, and this is a great game for us to get prepared for that atmosphere. It's a great game to help us get ready for the physicality that Collinville is going to bring and the offensive and defensive schemes that their coaches are going to put on the forefront. So we're excited to get out there, and we're excited. We've been preparing for 2 weeks, beating each other up, hitting each other at practice. We're ready to go against another opponent to see where we're at, see if we can handle the adversity that comes with a football game and also the physicality as well.
Okay, well, we can't wait for this game. So, again, 6:30 p.m. pregame. Obviously, if you're Del City Eagle fan, you want to watch the Del City broadcast crew. Again, Captain Kilty, Colton Fleetwood will bring it to you again. And we'll see if who gets tested this upcoming week. But someone's supposed to. So a lot to look forward to there. And if you go into the game, be sure to download the Oklahoma Sports Network app on your phone, and you can maybe watch some of the game on your phone. A little bit of a delay after while you're watching the game on the field. So we really look forward to that again. 6:30 kickoff. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, this will be on both the Midwest City channel, but also the Del City channel with Captain and Colton. So, guys, thank you very much. We look forward to watching this game and look forward to seeing you next week, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up next, I spoke with Carl Albert football coach Mike Dunn earlier today. You'll see the interview here in a few. You're watching the Mid-Del Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back.
Chicken strips. Chicken strips. Chicken strips.
Ranch, ranch, ranch. Ranch. Buffalo. Buffalo. Ranch. Monterey Jack cheese.
The Whataburger Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich. A beautiful masterpiece.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
All right, welcome back to the Middale Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Well, no surprise, Carl Albert football is rolling once again. As last week on a Thursday, they went down to Lawton and beat the Lawton Eisenhower Eagles by a score of 70-0. And they have a current win streak right now of 27. Their last loss was 2 years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but I believe it was week 2 against Muskogee. That was back in 2022. So it's probably now been over 2 years since Carl Albert last lost. They'll have a big challenge coming up this week. And for a look back at the game last week and a look at to the game they have this week, I talked with Carl Albert head football coach Mike Dunn earlier today, and here is the interview. Okay, Coach Dunn, what an impressive win you guys had against Lawton Eisenhower. I mean, you know, two of your big name OU commits were not in that game, Marcus and Trinae, but no problem because you have so many other guys you can just fill in there. And so, I mean, what's to complain about? You know, seems like things were just clicking for you guys.
Yeah. I thought all of our kids went out and played extremely well. Guys played hard, you know, and it was good to see because first big road trip, you know, driving over an hour and a half, and you know, we tell our guys all the time it's nothing but a business trip, and I felt like our guys really handled the travel well. You know, Thursday night playing at Cameron Stadium it's always hard. They're always fired up to play, and I think they use that to their advantage a lot, especially those midweek, the Thursday night games, and you know, a short week and having to travel, and they always do a good job of creating a really, really good atmosphere there. And so I was proud of our kids. One of the things we talked about was it didn't matter who was playing. There wasn't going to be any letdown, and the expectation stays the same, and that's always play hard, play fast, play physical, and our kids did a good job of that from top to bottom.
Okay, so at the beginning of the game, I mean, you were on top of things. I'm sure this, I don't know when you know, it occurred to you to do this, but Lawton or Cameron Stadium is an east-west stadium, and you guys won the coin toss, and you made Lawton Eisenhower go into the sun in the first quarter. I imagine that was on purpose.
Yeah, well, definitely kicking into it for sure. Yes, and the wind was blowing that direction anyways, you know, and so that was that. Anytime we go there, that is something that we always talk about. Coach Farley, Shane Farley, our special teams coordinator, and he that's something, you know, it's a really big deal to us, and it's something that we always talk about. It seems like every time we travel there, and we haven't got a kickback from them yet off of it, but we've always thought that would be really hard to do. I mean, yesterday we were doing it to our own guys when we were working kickoff at practice, and same type of deal, kicking it and having to find that ball, and it's tough to do, you know. But so yes, that was by design.
All right, and then, you know, first drive, there's a few guys on your team I'm noticing here. One of them is LeBron Royal. Let's talk more about him. I mean, it looks like he's ready to really blow up this year. I believe he's a junior, correct?
He is, yes. LeBron, we've always known that LeBron was going to be one of those guys. Once he did get his opportunity and got his chance, he was going to do the most with it. He's he's way good. He's a talented athlete, but I think what separates him from a lot of people is he's half crazy, first of all, but he plays that way too. You know, he's a guy that he plays with his hair on fire. I mean, he's motor. Doesn't matter what the situation is. He's going to give everything he has. He's not afraid of a fist fight. I mean, he's one of those guys. He's the type of kid that you love to have on your team and to have on your side and to coach because, you know, there's just nothing. There's not a challenge out there that he's afraid of. And he's fun to watch. You know, he's one of those kids that he makes football fun. The way he plays, the way he practices, he's turning into a leader for us. He's a guy that he's constantly trying to encourage his teammates in practice to keep going and get through hard times, hard practices, and so we've been really, really pleased with what LeBron has shown us these first two games.
And then we had the first drive, I believe it was Todd James got a touchdown pass. And what it seems like you always have these good players with the last name James, and they're not even related to each other.
Right, yeah.
And this guy, he looks right up there as far as athleticism goes with Tristan and Trene. And what can you say about him as a wide receiver?
Right, yeah. Well, so, you know, one thing I can say about all these guys is any of those guys that are touching the ball or playing DB or skill positions, they can all run. And Todd's another one of those guys. You know, these are all guys that ran on our 4x1, 4x2, or mile relay, whatever it was, that were all state champions just this past spring. So that separates those guys, I think, and Todd is no different. But Todd's another one that we've always known as soon as he got his chance, his opportunity, whether it was receiver, DB, and right now he's doing it on both sides of the ball, and he's playing great. Last year he started probably, 75, 80% of the games for us at safety and did unbelievable things for us. And this year we were excited for him in his senior year to be able to go show some of the things he can do offensively as well. And so I think it just shows that, when we do talk a lot about football, it's next man up mentality. And a lot of times it's just, sometimes that's just coach speak, but around here it's really not. We've got kids that are ready for an opportunity, and we've got kids that have made the most of their chance. So Todd had a great game on both sides of the ball the other night.
And then also, of course, LT again is not only elusive, but now he was showing off how strong he is. I mean, what is his strength compared to maybe an X? Is he right up there?
Yeah. I mean, as far as running back goes, yes, there's not a whole lot of fall off. He's not obviously the same stature size, I guess, as Xavier, but strength wise, I'd put LT up there with anybody else. And as far as being explosive goes, I don't know if there's anybody as explosive as him. I mean, he's one of those guys that if he has a small crease, he's going to go make the most of it. And once he gets, he's got a great burst through the hole, but then once he gets in the open field, there's not going to be a whole lot of people that are going to catch him. I mean, LT is another one that's got really good track speed, and he's shown that. He's got to show that a couple times in these first two games, and he's a guy that we're way excited about. He was our offensive player of the week this week, and very, very deserving of that.
And then I think leading into your second drive, you guys had a blocked punt or close to it, and it was very close to being offsides. I don't know if you remember that play. I was just curious if you thought that was just extremely good timing on your gunners there.
Right. I think it was either Joe Thomas or it was Caden Davis. I can't remember, but yes, I think I said the same thing. And one of our coaches on the headset said, "Coach, I think he just got a good jump on the ball." And so, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if you go look, one of the cool things about Huddle, which is where we store our film, watch our film, share film, it's where we share notes with our kids. Caden Davis and Joe Thomas, if you go look at their weekly, you can tell how much it logs how much film they watch or how much time they're on Huddle. Joe Thomas and Caden Davis in these first couple of weeks have been two of the guys that are up. Caden Davis for 4 years now has always been the top guy when it comes to how much film he watches. But Joe Thomas is right there with him, and like yesterday, I watched Caden Davis. They left. We watched film after practice, and Joe Thomas is getting in the car with Caden. And so I know Joe is taking a page out of the Caden Davis playbook, and he's really watching film, and it would surprise me none if he had a beat on that or had some kind of clue that had him kind of honed in on when that ball was going to be snapped. And so, yeah, that was I thought the same thing. It's funny you caught that.
And I mean, I was going to ask later about Joe Thomas, so go and bring it up now. What makes him go on defense?
Same as LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, those two guys are, you know, two peas in the same pod. Like I said, you know, Joe's nickname is Crazy Joe, and he's half crazy, just like LeBron's half crazy. And both those guys just play with unbelievable motors. You know, they're not going to be the biggest defensive ends that people face, but I don't know if anyone's going to have as active of defensive ends. Both those guys are really, really strong in the weight room, and both of them are really, really fast. I mean, for 205, 210-pound kids, they're way fast, but they're you know, more than anything, they're just way explosive. And so, you know, I think our D-line coaches, our defensive end coaches, Coach Vinny and Coach Evans, and then Coach Herbert, the scheme that he puts them in and the places he puts them in, I think those guys do an unbelievable job of giving those guys something that they can be really successful doing. And those guys, they do the most with their opportunities.
And I mentioned a few minutes ago, essentially you guys taking the sun, as it was, as you can call it, to begin the game. And you called a timeout at the end of the first quarter to kind of preserve that on a punt play. Is that more for your punt receiving team? Or, I mean, I know it's probably a Coach Farley decision, or is that more to make it tougher on their punter?
Well, I would love to say that was something that we planned, but we had a little bit of confusion. We had a bunch of guys rotating, you know, especially with Trinae being out. We got, you know, we have a couple of different punt return looks that we can give, and we got mixed up and we ended up having 12 guys on the field. And so that's the only reason. I wish we could say that was by design or that wasn't just a screw up on our part, but we ended up having 12 guys on the field. So I just ran down and made sure to call a timeout real quick so we get our personnel right.
You had me going, Coach, because it was right before the quarter was going to end.
Right.
And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. Have them punt into the sun and help your receivers out. But
yeah,
it was the
I didn't
first
even
half
think about that. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out that way, but I did not think about it.
Okay, well, and one thing that may have been a little bit of a flaw in the second quarter, we saw some bad snaps. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm sure that's obviously something you're going to work on in practice, but is there any worries there?
No, I mean, no worries other than, you know, in game, you never want to get sloppy, and you don't want to have those kind of, I guess, careless mistakes is almost what it kind of felt like there. I think we got a little too, I wouldn't say complacent. I think we got a little too comfortable maybe. But yeah, that's at halftime. That was one of the things that we talked about was just cleaning up. You know, we had some penalties, and a lot of times, like, you know, we never want to have penalties, but you know, when you get penalties because of effort plays and hustle plays and guys trying to go out, I think that's what makes us, you know, offensively. I think that's what makes us go. Is a lot of times our kids, they're gonna block their tails off. Doesn't matter if they're a lineman or a receiver, tight end, doesn't matter. Those guys all take blocking very serious, and our coaches take it very serious. But they I thought they did a, you know, when we had the turnover late, and then we had the bad snap on fourth down right there inside the 5 at halftime, we just talked about how those things, you know, in a game would have been a little bit closer. Those are the kind of things that could kill you and can be the difference between a win and a loss. And so at halftime, we just talked about cleaning up those mistakes, cleaning up the penalties, and going out and having a clean second half, and then really not having any fall off. You know, it didn't matter who was going to be in the game. You know, we took a travel squad of 44 players, and I believe all 44 played, and it was the message was, hey, it doesn't matter who's in. Clean up mistakes, go play hard, play fast, and let's go finish the game.
You mentioned playing all your guys, and I didn't see the entire second half, but Kirk Norman mentioned at the beginning that you started out that half with a new offensive line. How did that go? Obviously, you guys scored plenty. So how do you feel about your depth you're building now in your O-line?
Yeah, well, we're fortunate that we got to have that kind of game to be able to work those guys and get some extra guys into the game. And this time of year, you know, we talk a lot about rotating guys and trying to trying to get the guys the experience that, once we get down into a district run and trying to go make a playoff run, you got to have good depth. You got to have guys that can fill in when things happen. And so we felt good about that second group. We're way young on the offensive line. We really only have one senior offensive lineman, and the rest are all, if you go look at those lineman numbers on our roster, they're all sophomores and juniors. So we're excited about our future. We just got to get these young guys right now going. And the other night was another opportunity to get a bunch of reps with a bunch of different guys and get game reps against a good defense and a good defensive line. So, yeah, we didn't feel like there was much fall off. They ran the clock, and so they didn't get a whole lot of opportunities because we scored on defense. I think the last 3 touchdowns were on defense, and so we didn't get a lot of opportunities to get those guys as many reps as we'd have liked to. But, when they were in, there was no fall off.
And playing a Thursday game turned out to be really good timing because, as I read the next day, Carl Albert High School had a power outage, and I'm thinking, how would that have affected a home game that day?
We thought the exact same thing. Yeah, we talked about that as we were sitting in our field house because the main campus, the main building, was without power. Our field house had power, and so moved the whole school out here. But as coaches, as kids are getting checked out left and right, and then we get the message. At first it should be back on in 2 or 3 hours, and then we get the message about 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere around there, that the power was not going to be restored that day. And so
that's what I saw.
Yeah, we started coming up with a plan to get kids home and making sure everything was going to be safe and secure as far as that goes. But yeah, we thought the same thing, that if that was on a game day, that could be really a wild situation. But thankfully, we didn't have a game, and those Thursday nights after the Cameron Stadium trips to Lawton, they're late anyways. A lot of the coaches didn't get home. Kids didn't get home probably till around midnight. Coaches got home probably about 1 a.m. And so it actually kind of worked out in our favor that we got to go home and get a little bit of rest. I think everybody got to go home, get an early weekend after a long trip. So it worked out.
Yeah, I think it was also senior ditch day. Not that your seniors would do that, but
yeah, I don't think our seniors are much different than anybody else. If they're
okay,
yeah, they know around here that if that's what you choose to do, you better have a parent that checks you out, and you better because I know Miss Goggins, our administration team, is going to hammer them, and so we make sure that you get ISR, you get after school detention or something because you did something dumb like that. That's going to cost you, but B, you better be at practice. So, whether your parents check you out or not, your butt's coming to practice. There's no such thing as senior ditch day with football practice. So,
right. Were you still able to have practice, or was that even the plan on a Friday after you play on a Thursday? Do you normally have practice?
No, scrimmages we do. After scrimmages, we'll go out and we'll get a few periods of offense, a few periods of defense, and maybe clean up some special team stuff. But once we get into regular season, regular games, we usually will, after a Thursday game, our Friday plan is we'll work out. We call it a flush. We'll kind of flush the system, and then we'll watch film and usually try to get those guys out about 3 o'clock, 3:30, just so we can go scout or go watch an opponent that we want to see and, do those kind of things and get the kids out of there pretty quick. So, but no, we were not going to practice.
Okay. All right. Let's talk Stillwater.
Yeah.
I've been aware of them, a little bit before 2018, but when I got to Midwest City, they were really starting to take off.
Yeah.
They won their district that year and beyond. They were runner-up to Bixby 2019, same thing. Barely lost to Bixby in the state title game. Pretty good the next 2 years. And then finally in 2022, they break through and win state in 6A2. Were runner-up last year against the team you beat last year, Muskogee.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they have a great program.
Yep.
And they're 2-0 this year. They beat Tulsa Union. That says a lot, obviously. 15-point win against Enid. So set the table there for you, but how did you get this Stillwater in your schedule, and what do you think about the Pioneers? Obviously, they look really good.
Yeah. So the way the game got scheduled is Stillwater doesn't have a whole lot of people knocking the door down to play them, and we were having trouble finding a game, and somebody said Stillwater was looking, and so I called Coach K. Wood. I've known those guys and have a lot of respect for Coach Barnard before, and then Coach K. Wood's been there for a long time as his offensive coordinator and now as the head coach. And so, I made that phone call, and Coach K. Wood didn't bat an eye either. He wants to play good teams and have really good non-district games. It's only going to set you up for what your ultimate goal is. And so we got that game scheduled pretty quick. And even after all the stuff happened with the realignments and everything, we were able to keep the game, which was really good. Stillwater's good. They're really good. They're big. They're physical. They remind me a lot of what we do here at Carl Albert. That they do what they do, and they don't really stray from it. They're going to play. They're going to be physical up front, both sides of the ball. They play zone defense a lot in coverage, not a whole lot of man stuff. They move around. They're not afraid to send pressure and go attack. And then offensively, they run the ball. They run power. They run split zone. They run a little bit of outside zone. And they've got good receivers outside. They've got a good little running back. Their quarterback's a kid that has played really well in his first 2 games. And he doesn't look like he's a guy that can go beat you with his legs, but I think what's really helped them out quite a bit in the first 2 games is him running the ball, just escaping pressure and pulling the ball down and going on design pass plays, and then on little bootleg plays where if it's covered up and he's got green grass, he takes off and runs. And so got a lot of respect for Stillwater. I was at Del City during those years and in district with them. Played them in a district championship. I guess it was 2019, and played them in a really, really good game in 18 as well over at our place. And it's funny. You start looking at these games and you start thinking about back then, things they did then. You start chasing ghosts and thinking about, hey, well, in 18 they did this. We got to be ready for this. And so it's funny when you play teams like Bishop McGuinness is a lot like that, where you've played them so much and you start kind of chasing ghosts. And so we just got to be good about doing what we do and controlling the things that we can control.
I can't wait for that game. I'm glad you guys were able to schedule it. It's one of the marquee games in state when you consider the recent tradition that Stillwater's established. So
yeah, no doubt.
Can't wait for it. All right, well, Coach, thank you again, and look forward to going over your game and getting in touch with you guys next week.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back.
Chicken strips. Chicken strips. Chicken strips.
Ranch, ranch, ranch. Ranch! Buffalo! Buffalo! Ranch! Monterey Jack cheese!
Play a bumper and then go back. I should have been aware of that, but I hear myself in my headset.
The Whataburger Buffalo
just
Ranch
general
Chicken
bumper,
Strip
not
Sandwich.
with any school.
A beautiful masterpiece.
Okay, we had some technical difficulties, that being my brain there, but we're back on for a moment here. We want to thank Coach Dunn again for his time. And just so you know, the Carl Albert Stillwater game, what a big game that is. A dominant team Stillwater has been in 6A2 the last several years. Of course, we all know about Carl Albert and their success. And they'll be playing at Stillwater. We'll have the game for you, of course, in the Oklahoma Sports Network. Pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7. And then Kirk Norman will, of course, bring you the game. Mike Goff will be back on the air with him as his color commentator. And guess what? Everything I was saying about Tessa earlier was wrong. She actually will be at that game, which makes sense because it's in Stillwater, and Tessa is an Oklahoma State student, so she'll be with him to do sideline reporting for that game. All right, well, we this week we're not able to get another fall sports team from Middale. We'll try again next week and beyond. So that's going to go ahead and do it for the show. But I want to once again thank Bricktown Brewery for hosting. I want to once again thank Toonie Bice Houses for being a second sponsor. Also, Sarai Rawls came in and guest produced for this week. She did an outstanding job. And I want to thank Dedrick Jones once again for helping out on camera. All right, so again, we'll have 2 games for you this week for Middale, 3 broadcasts. Midwest City and Del City at Midwest City High School. 2 different broadcasts there, the Midwest City channel, the Del City channel, and, of course, Carl Albert taking on Stillwater. That will be on the Carl Albert channel of the Oklahoma Sports Network. All right, that'll do it for now. Thank you all for watching. the Mid-Dell Coach Show once again on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.